management, you're responsible for all properties in your group.
Within the group.
Yeah. What are the management skills are you use for training your employees?
Yeah, sure. So we've obviously got a set policies and procedures manual. So here goes this. So in that policies and procedures manual, some staff will come in. Sorry, I know you'll dictate what we're talking about. So we have a policies and procedures manual, and then out of our policies and procedures manual, we then have a training program that we use across the group for all different positions and roles. So obviously we've got maintenance, housekeeping, front office, sales and marketing. Yeah. So from that policies and procedures manual, I used to work for Marriott International many years ago, and the way that they did their training platform was really, really well. So what happens is you do things where you've got your training, a lot of the time your policies and procedures will get stuck in an office or somewhere and never get used. So what we do is we use those policies and procedures manuals to train. So you've got your set policies, and then we'll use them for training, induction training, during training, and then we do like a 15 minutes of training every day. So everyone across the group will be learning and training the same task every day. So one day it might be that everyone is looking at all the electrical wires and make sure that everything's got tags, and so everyone, whether you're a housekeeper, front desk, or maintenance, you are focusing on the same thing. So that training isn't just at the beginning of your employment, it goes right through.
Like you follow the standards.
Yeah, so you've got your set standards from your policies and procedures manual. You then, instead of it just being in a manual and you learn it, you've then got the policies and procedures every day that you're ongoing and doing ongoing training, and we call those 15 minutes of training.
Okay, thank you. The biggest challenges to be a manager, what are the biggest challenges you met with when you become a manager?
Sure. So as a manager, it's one of the hardest things, because one of the biggest challenges, I think, is you then learn that you're the final decision maker. So, when you're coming up from the ranks, from when you're frontline staff to being a supervisor to then being a general manager, you are then ultimately responsible not only for the decisions you make, but you're responsible for that final decision, and you're also responsible for everyone else under you. So staffing wise, operation wise, so every touch point in the business, you are overseeing the whole business and you're responsible for the outcomes. So the biggest challenge would be, sometimes you're not always going to get it right, but you definitely need to know that you are accountable for the decisions, and a big part of that is making sure you have the right team under you to make sure. So but the biggest challenge there would definitely be making sure that you're making the right decisions for yourself and the business and the team.
Mm-hmm. You mean you need to be flexible, yes? You need to think more about each department.
Correct. You've got to think of the bigger picture. You can't just make a decision and go, this is what I want to do. You've got to have a look at what that ripple effect is. You've got to have a look at whatever decision you make doesn't just affect that one person, it's a ripple effect. So,
I see.
Yeah.
How do you figure out the new challenges that you're still having?
So a lot of the challenges will either get brought to me operationally. So a lot of my staff will come to me and have, hey, this is the challenge I have, and as a manager, you've got to be open to listening. Open to listening to what's out there, because I can't be at every property at all times. So, it's important that you listen to what your team are telling you, and then those challenges, you then find a solution. Biggest word, my big word is if something's happening all the time, find a solution to it. So operationally, and there's lots of challenges that come, especially in hotels, it's all about finding out what that challenge is and finding a solution, and to make sure, and it might be something business systems, so you're going to change the way we do things, or are we going to change it and do something different? So or do we keep it the same but just do it better? So you've got to think of all those little things.
Thank you. How could you describe your management style? Are you a more democratic manager? For example, group members take a role in the decision-making process, or more autocratic and rely the the team members rely on your personal experience?
Yeah, look, for me first.
Sorry,
first option.
Sorry.
Yeah, no.
It's mistake. Like you rely on your personal experience.
No, I think to
more.
be an effective manager in this role, it's definitely the first option. You've got to be open to have a mix of what you've learned and involve your team as well and listen, because I don't know everything. Things change all the time, and what might be right now might not have been right 10 years ago or whatnot. So this industry is always changing. Your staff that you work with is always changing. The environment's always changing. So you've got to be an open manager to go to include just your team in the discussion and the changes. So
and you mean like the employees can feel as a part in this process? Yes, in the business.
They are.
They're more motivated.
Yeah, they are part of the process.
Yeah.
Without them and without that, I don't have a business. So we're in a customer service industry, and the staff are you need the staff, and we need to all be on the same page as well. So, definitely a big ambassador for having your team involved in every touch point of the business.
Thank you. And the next topic is about communication. How do you ensure effective communication within your team?
So for me, we've got my very first communication is every day. I'll walk around and visit every single property and see how everyone's going, whether it's from front desk or out in housekeeping. So I make it my first hour every day of every shift. I'm going and visiting every property and doing that face-to-face communication. The second one is then, because we've got multiple sites, is that we've got through our rostering pro deputy, we've got an online platform that I can email at any time, and we shoot out the correspondence that way. So when people start their shifts in the morning, they'll sign in, and then they've got to check that correspondence that goes through. So everyone can then be same message, same information is sent out to everybody at the same time.
And you're always in touch with each department, with each property.
Each department, and I've got key people at each property. So even though I'm not there, I've then got key property managers at each site that will then also filter that information down.
Key people are the people who are responsible for each property, or it's like the frontline manager?
Bit of both. So because we're smaller properties here, it's not a big hotel, we actually have property managers at each that then will look after housekeeping and so it's having one manager. As a traditional hotel would normally have a general manager, a deputy, a duty manager and sub under us. So
what strategies do you use to handle difficult guests or situations that require clear and concise communication?
So again, that comes down to training.
Interesting.
No, it is, So a big thing for me is that I train myself on how to handle customer conflicts. So again, right from the word go, the second a guest has it, they're not going to see me first, they're going to see who's at the front desk. So having everyone trained at the front desk, and including housekeeping on how to manage an angry guest or something that's happening. And the biggest thing is listening and understanding. So if you're listening and you're understanding and you're re-saying back to them what you hear, you're usually going to have a better an outcome, especially with guest complaints. I hear what you're saying, I'm listening to what you're saying, and this is what I'm going to do for you.
It's difficult,
it is difficult, and we're in a different world now where a lot of the time some guests won't say anything to you face to face. They'll wait and they'll do it on an online platform. So we've now got the luxury of having all these, Facebook, and you've got booking.com where they can actually leave online reviews. So it's not just face to face anymore. They can actually go on and leave reviews digitally as well.
And those reviews, like in our century, I mean, it plays very important role, like in for the future guests.
Correct, and it affects your star rating, it affects your online rating, which people nowadays, unfortunately, they look at that. So it's important that you manage it as they occur. Important that you do reply to every single review that comes through and action it, and don't just reply to it. Again, action it and go, what's caused this person to leave a complaint? Is it something we need to change operationally? Is it something we could have changed? Sometimes it's out of our control. But you need to action those and use them as opportunities and not go, that person's whinging about this.
I see, thank you. How do you train and develop, maybe in some cases, your staff to effectively communicate with guests and resolve any issues that may arise.
Yep. So again, it comes back to that ongoing training. So
It-
having
yeah,
training
yeah,
at
the
the
same.
beginning, so similar question.
Yeah.
But having different, next week, for example, we've got a staff meeting. So next week's staff meeting will be about customer service. So each meeting, staff meeting that we have with everyone, picking a topic and training on customer service. Is it training on revenue generation? Whatever it is. So having quite frequent staff meetings where you're focused on a certain topic, and that's where your training and development comes from.
Yeah, it's pretty same. Pretty the same.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it is, yeah.
And this is like my topic from me, because we've got like not just me in our group, and about motivation. What motivates you to go to work every day?
Yeah, me. It's my people. It's the people that I work with. And it's developing them in the industry. It's an amazing. Hospitality is a great industry because you can take your skill sets anywhere in the world. So for me, the motivation is definitely staff development, and also profitability of the business. There's a lot of growth. There's always things change. It's forever changing. The industry is forever changing. So it was very different from 30 years ago when I first started, where we didn't have all these, online platforms, or we didn't have contactless check-ins and all these different things that the industry's changed over the years, or how guests want to chat with us, whether it's through an online platform, that's changed, so keeping up with technology and keeping the business relevant is a big thing, and that challenges, and I love it. I enjoy that component.
And you can see those changes like before, how it was and now.
Yeah, and COVID
And after
changed
COVID,
things.
yes.
COVID changed a lot of things. So COVID taught everybody how to use QR codes. So when people want to do a digital check-in now, they can. We don't have any digital locks at any of our properties, but we're looking at doing that. So that's a new a thing that I can introduce.
And face masks, sanitizing tools, like this stuff.
All those,
Yes, it's lots
there.
of money, I think. Yes,
that's all there and changed. But then people have also, a lot of people don't want that. Back in the day we used to service rooms every day. Every room got serviced. But now we're giving people the options. Would you like your room serviced? A lot of people don't even want their room serviced. So it's changed the way we're running the business because of an outside, of what's happened. So.
The second one, what personal attributes do you have that enable you to motivate others?
Yeah, sure. So I think the biggest thing for me is, again, experience. I've had that experience of being able to motivate and coach and develop the team around me. So that's a big thing, I think. And personality-wise, I love hospitality and I love the industry of being a people person. I hate being stuck in an office, even though I'm sitting in here right now. But it's a people service industry, so you're always going to be, face to face with different people and your team as well.
And in your opinion, you need to really love what you do and like the industry where you develop yourself.
Yeah, no, I think so. I wouldn't have stayed in hospitality for 30 years if I didn't.
Yeah.
But I think it's an industry that I have this motto that I can train anything, but I can't train a personality. So with that comes having the right people, having the right personality for the industry, because I can't teach or train that. So it's important to have the right attributes and personality for the industry, because then I can train. So that's a big one there too.
Yeah. And the third one is, tell me about a time when you motivated a difficult group to achieve excellent results.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe.
Yeah, no.
Maybe not excellent, but just results.
No, I'm just trying to think. So I think I've come into, and not necessarily this property, but I've taken over before a team that were very disconnected. Everybody had their own departments. It's like food and beverage was here and everyone was very in their own and wouldn't help and support each other. It's like one day I came across it and we actually switched roles one day. We said, okay, so a few housekeepers are going to come here for a day and we're going to switch, so everyone could see how each other works in other industries, in different departments. We actually swapped different properties as well at one time, so they didn't just work in the one site all the time. They got to see what it was like in another opportunity, and by doing that, the staff then had a better idea and a better understanding of how to support each other, and all of a sudden we ended up with a group that could work with each other and had respect for each other, and that was there was no more this segregation of everybody working in their own departments and not sharing teaspoons or whatever it may be, that they actually all worked harmoniously and worked as a team, which is what you want as a general manager.
I got it. And what advice would you give to future hospitality managers? From your experience, what can we do to improve the hospitality industry's quality?
Yeah, sure. So I think the biggest thing that a general manager could do is always have your ears open and be open to new changes and new things. And to realise that your key assets are your team and your staff, because without them you don't have a business. Without them you operationally can't run. So I think it's important to always have an open door policy and be very open to anyone to be able to walk in your door at any time and express any feelings or ideas that they have, to keep the business growing.
Okay, thank you so much,
No, that's okay.
Mrs. Lukic.
Yes,
Thank you.